I was 29 years old when I found my sister's journal under my bed. I wasn't looking for it. I was looking for a shoebox full of old photographs my mom had asked me to bring to Thanksgiving dinner, something about wanting to show my fiancé pictures of me as a baby, the kind of harmless maternal embarrassment I'd grown used to. I knelt beside my childhood bed in my parents' house, the same bed I'd slept in from age 7 until I moved out for college, and pulled out storage bins and forgotten craft projects and a rolled-up poster of some boy band I'd been obsessed with at 14. The journal was in a Ziploc bag, shoved into the far corner against the wall where the carpet met the baseboard. It was small, maybe 5 by 7 inches, with a purple cover that had faded to a grayish lavender. The edges were worn soft, and there was a water stain on the back that had warped the cardboard underneath. I opened it without thinking. That's the part I'll never forgive myself for. I didn't hesitate, didn't consider privacy or boundaries. In my family, we didn't really have those. Or rather, I didn't have those. I could walk into any room, open any drawer, interrupt any conversation. That's what happens when you're the favored one. You stop seeing doors as closed. The first page had her name written in the top corner in purple gel pen. Meredith. My sister. 3 years older than me, living somewhere in Oregon now, a place she'd moved to 6 years ago without telling anyone the exact city. We'd exchanged maybe 10 text messages in the last 3 years. Mostly on birthdays. Mostly short. The handwriting was from when she was 15, maybe 16. I recognized it from old school papers I'd seen in boxes in the garage. Rounder than her adult writing, with little hearts over the eyes that she must have grown out of eventually. I should have closed it. I should have put it back in the bag, shoved it back under the bed, pretended I'd never seen it. Instead, I sat down on the carpet with my back against the bed frame and started reading. The first entry was dated October 12, 2004. She would have been 16. I would have been 13. Mom forgot to pick me up from play practice again. It started. I waited for an hour and a half this time. Finally called Dad, but he was at Sophie's volleyball game, so he said to just walk home. It's 4 miles. It was getting dark. When I got home, Mom was helping Sophie with her history project, the one about the California missions. They'd built the whole thing out of sugar cubes. It looked amazing. Mom looked up when I came in and asked where I'd been. I told her play practice, like I've told her every Tuesday and Thursday for the last 6 weeks. She said, "Oh, right," and went back to gluing sugar cubes. I remembered that mission project. I remembered being so proud of it, remembered how Mom had stayed up until midnight with me to finish the bell tower, how we'd laughed when one of the walls collapsed and we had to rebuild it. I remembered bringing it to school and getting an A+, remembered Mom taking a photo of me holding it on the front porch. I didn't remember Meredith being in the fall play that year. I didn't even know she'd ever done theater. I turned the page. Sophie made varsity volleyball as an 8th grader today. Dad cried. Actual tears. He called Grandma and Grandpa and told them, and then he took Sophie out for ice cream to celebrate, just the two of them. When they got back, Sophie showed me the trophy they'd bought her, not for making varsity, just for being exceptional. It's on the mantel now, next to her Student of the Month certificate and her Perfect Attendance Award. I got a B+ on my chemistry test today. No one asked. My hands were shaking. I set the journal down on the carpet and pressed my palms against my knees, trying to steady myself. I could hear voices downstairs, my mom talking to someone on the phone, my dad watching a football game in the living room. Normal sounds. Sounds I'd grown up with, sounds that had always meant safety and warmth and home. I picked the journal back up. There were gaps between entries. Sometimes weeks, sometimes months. She didn't write every day, only when something built up enough that she needed to put it somewhere. I started skipping ahead, reading entries at random, and every single one was like a small, precise cut. Sophie's 16th birthday party, Mom rented out the community center, hired a DJ, invited 60 people. She had a cake from the fancy bakery with her face printed on it in edible ink. I'm not jealous. I'm really not. I just keep thinking about my 16th birthday. We went to dinner at Olive Garden. Just the four of us. I wanted to invite friends, but Mom said it would be too complicated. Sophie's graduation party is already being planned, and she's only a sophomore. Mom has a Pinterest board. Thanksgiving, Uncle Jim asked me what colleges I'm looking at. I said I'm thinking about state, maybe applying to the art program. Dad laughed and said, Meredith's not really the college type. He didn't say it mean. He just said it like a fact, like saying the sky is blue. Sophie's already been touring schools and she's only in 9th grade. Berkeley. Stanford. Schools I didn't even know you could just visit. Sophie got into a car accident today. Just a fender bender in a parking lot, completely her fault, she backed into someone. Mom and Dad rushed to the scene like it was a medical emergency. Dad handled everything with the insurance. Mom took her for coffee after to process the stress. She's fine. She's completely fine. When I slipped on ice last winter and sprained my wrist, Mom told me to put some ice on it and be more careful. I wanted to stop reading, but I couldn't. It was like watching a building collapse in slow motion. You know you should look away, but your eyes won't move. The entries from her senior year were worse. College acceptance letters came today. I got into state. I'm excited. I think I'm excited. I told Mom and Dad at dinner. Dad said, "That's good, honey," and then immediately turned to Sophie and asked if she'd finished her English essay. Mom said we'd need to figure out how to pay for it, since they'd been saving for Sophie's college fund. I didn't know Sophie had a college fund. I didn't know I didn't have one. Sophie won homecoming queen tonight. The whole family went to the game to watch her get crowned. I stayed home. I told them I had homework. Really, I just didn't want to stand there and clap. Mom took about 300 photos. There are 5 photos of me on the mantle in the living room. All from when I was little. There are 47 of Sophie, and I counted. Mom helped Sophie write her college essays this weekend. They sat at the kitchen table for hours, Mom suggesting phrases and reorganizing paragraphs. Sophie's applying to 12 schools. I asked Mom if she'd read my essay for state, the one I've been working on for my art scholarship. She said she would when she had time. That was 3 weeks ago. I submitted it yesterday. I don't think she ever read it. There was an entry from the summer before she started college, dated July 2007, that I had to read 3 times before I could process it. I'm moving into the dorms in 6 weeks. I thought I'd feel excited, but I mostly just feel tired. I was cleaning out my closet today and I found the birthday cards from the last 5 years. I kept them all in a shoebox. I don't know why. I laid them out on my bed to throw them away, and I noticed something. Every single card from Mom and Dad to Sophie, and I mean every single one, has a handwritten message inside. Full paragraphs about how special she is, how proud they are, specific things she did that year. I opened mine. Every single one just says, "Happy birthday, love Mom and Dad." The same 5 words in Dad's handwriting. Every year. I closed the journal and put my face in my hands. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. Downstairs, I heard my mom laugh at something on her phone call. A real laugh, bright and easy. I don't know how long I sat there on the floor of my childhood bedroom before I opened the journal again. The last entries were from her freshman year of college. Her writing had changed, smaller, more cramped, like she was trying to fit more pain into less space. I came home for fall break. Sophie's a senior now. The house is covered in banners about her college applications, her senior photos, her last volleyball season. Mom asked me how school was going, but she was looking at her phone when she asked. I told her I'd made the dean's list. She said, "That's nice, sweetie." Sophie walked in and said she thought she might have a cold, and Mom immediately started making her soup from scratch. Christmas, I gave everyone gifts I'd made in my art classes. Painted coasters for Mom, a wood-burned picture frame for Dad, a leather bookmark for Sophie. I'd spent weeks on them. Everyone said thank you. Sophie opened hers and said, "Oh, cool," and then showed everyone the Tiffany bracelet Mom and Dad got her. I got a gift card to Target. $50. Sophie got a laptop, a new phone, and 6 different boxes with jewelry. I'm not counting because I'm jealous. I'm counting because I need to prove to myself that I'm not making this up. I'm not coming home for spring break. I told them I had too much work to do, which is true, but also I just can't sit in that house and watch them love her while they forget I exist. Mom sounded relieved when I said I wasn't coming. Not sad. Relieved. Like it was one less thing on her to-do list. The very last entry was dated April 2008, near the end of her freshman year. I think I'm going to transfer schools. Somewhere farther away. Maybe out of state. I don't know yet. I just know I can't keep coming back to a house where I'm a guest and Sophie's the resident. I can't keep calling home and hearing Mom's voice go flat when she realizes it's me and not Sophie. I can't keep pretending this doesn't hurt. It hurts every single day. It has hurt every single day for as long as I can remember. I'm 18 years old and I've spent my entire life being the practice child. The rough draft. The one they figured out their mistakes on before Sophie came along and they knew how to do it right. I don't hate them. I think that's the worst part. I don't even hate them. I just want to stop waiting for them to notice I'm missing. That was it. The journal ended there. No final entry, no closure, just that last paragraph and then blank pages for the rest of the book. I sat on the floor for a long time after I finished reading. My legs went numb and then prickly, but I didn't move. I kept thinking about all the things I remembered from growing up, and now they all looked different, like someone had taken a photograph I'd seen 1,000 times and pointed out a figure in the background I'd never noticed before. Except the figure had been there all along. The figure had been my sister. I thought about the time I'd thrown a fit because I wanted a bigger birthday party, and I got it, got the community center, got the DJ, got everything. I thought about how many times Mom had helped me with homework, had driven me to practice, had sat with me while I cried about friend drama or boys or tests I thought I'd failed. I thought about the college fund I'd used without question, the one that had paid for all 4 years at a private university, the one I'd never even asked about because of course it existed. Of course it did. I was their daughter. So was Meredith. I heard footsteps on the stairs. My mom's voice calling up, "Sophie? Did you find those photos? We're waiting." I shoved the journal back into the Ziploc bag and pushed it under the bed, back into the corner where I'd found it. My hands were still shaking. I grabbed the shoebox of photos I'd found it 20 minutes ago and forgotten about it completely, and stood up too fast, got dizzy, had to steady myself against the bed frame. When I came downstairs, my mom was sitting at the kitchen table with my fiancé, showing him something on her phone. She looked up when I walked in, and her whole face brightened. "There you are. I was starting to think you'd gotten lost up there. Did you find them?" I handed her the box. She immediately opened it and started pulling out photos, cooing over each one. Baby pictures of me. Toddler pictures. First day of kindergarten. My first volleyball trophy. My 8th grade graduation. My high school senior portrait. "Look how precious you were," she said to my fiancé, holding up a photo of me at maybe 5 years old, sitting on Santa's lap. She was such a happy baby. Never cried, always smiling. We were so lucky. I looked around the kitchen. There were framed photos on every wall, clustered on the windowsill, stuck to the refrigerator with magnets. I'd never counted them before. I started counting them now. 42 photos visible from where I was standing. 41 of me. One of the whole family, from a vacation we'd taken to Disneyland when I was 12 and Meredith was 15. In the photo, I was in front, hugging Mickey Mouse. Meredith was in the back, partially cut off by the edge of the frame. That night, after my fiancé fell asleep in the guest room, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I kept thinking about the college fund. The one I'd used. The one Meredith didn't have. I'd never asked where the money came from. I just assumed, the way I'd assumed everything my whole life, that of course there was money for me, because there was always money for me. For volleyball camps and spring break trips and a new laptop when mine got slow. For sorority dues and a car when I turned 16 and a down payment on my first apartment after college. Had they been saving that money for both of us? Had they made a choice? I thought about calling Meredith. I picked up my phone 3 times and put it down 3 times. What would I even say? I found your journal. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Except I should have known. That was the thing that kept circling back, landing in my stomach like something heavy and cold. I should have known. I lived in that house. I saw her every day for 18 years. I watched her eat dinner with us, sleep in the room next to mine, exist in the same space. How did I not see it? Because I didn't look. Because when you're the sun, you don't notice the planets. I pulled up her contact in my phone. The last text message between us was from her birthday 8 months ago. I'd written, "Happy birthday. Hope it's a good one." She responded 6 hours later with, "Thanks." Before that, there was a message from my engagement announcement. I'd sent a photo of my ring. She'd written, "Congratulations." Before that, nothing for 11 months. I started typing a message and then deleted it. Started again. Deleted again. What do you say to someone you've known your entire life but apparently never seen? The next morning at breakfast, I watched my parents differently. I was looking for something, though I didn't know what. Evidence, maybe. Proof that what I'd read was real and not some distorted version of events filtered through a teenage girl's hurt feelings. My mom made pancakes, my favorite, the ones with blueberries and lemon zest. She put an extra one on my plate without asking. My dad asked about my work, about the wedding planning, about whether we'd chosen a venue yet. Normal questions. Loving questions. The kind of questions parents ask children they care about. "How's Meredith doing?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. My mom looked up from the stove. "Meredith?" "I don't know, honey." "Fine, I assume." "Why?" "Just wondering. It's been a while since we talked." "Well, you know your sister. She's always been independent. Keeps to herself." My mom said it fondly, like it was a charming personality trait and not a symptom of something broken. "When's the last time you talked to her?" I asked. My mom thought about it, spatula in hand. "Oh, gosh. Maybe her birthday? Or was that last year? I can't remember. I should call her." She said it the way people say they should go to the gym or organize their garage. A vague intention with no timeline. "Does she ever come home?" I asked. "Not really. She's busy with work, I think. She's doing something with graphic design, isn't she? Or was it web design?" My mom looked at my dad. "Do you remember what Meredith does?" My dad looked up from his newspaper. "Something with computers. My sister had a degree in fine arts. She'd wanted to be a painter." I knew this only because I'd looked at her Facebook profile at 2 in the morning, scrolling back years through sparse posts and photos she'd been tagged in. Her current job title said art director. She worked for some marketing company in Portland. Or Eugene. The city wasn't listed. "We should invite her to the wedding," I said. My mom smiled. Of course. I'm sure she'll come. It's your wedding. I wanted to ask if they were sure, if they'd really invited her or just assumed she'd be there the way they assumed she was fine, she was busy, she was independent. But I didn't ask. I just ate my pancakes and let my mom refill my coffee and accepted a hug from my dad before we left, and I hated myself the entire drive home. I tried to write Meredith a letter. I sat at my laptop for 3 hours one night while my fiancé was at basketball with his friends, and I tried to find words that weren't garbage. Dear Meredith, I found your journal. I read it. I'm sorry. Delete. Dear Meredith, I didn't know things were so hard for you growing up. I wish you'd told me. Delete. That one was worse. That one put it on her, like it was her job to explain her own erasure to the person who'd benefited from it. Dear Meredith, I think I understand now why you don't come home. True, but insufficient. Understanding isn't the same as fixing. You can't unforgive with comprehension. I closed the laptop. I thought about the journal, still under my childhood bed. I should have brought it with me. I should have taken it so I could give it back to her, but I'd been too shocked, too raw. And maybe part of me had wanted to leave it there, to pretend I'd never found it, to go back to the version of my life where I was loved simply and completely, where there were no rough drafts, no practiced children, no sisters who'd been whittled down to background noise.